Start recording again.
Scanning for C2.
Oh, that was a bad one. I wanna break a leg. Ow.
Welcome back, Captain. How can I take care? I require a functioning captain to run the ship.
Yeah, right. Adios! I know. Yes, Mousepad.
I am pleased to inform you that we have arrived at the labyrinth. Please be advised that the punishment for trespassing is execution. Please be advised that electrical storms on the surface of Tartarus make departure impossible at this time. Resident count is as follows: 3,071. Resident deaths, including but not limited to executions, are as follows: 1,684. Resident escapes are as follows:
0.
0. The interior can be chilly. Take a scarf with you, Captain. I would also ask that you leave your captain's ID with me, in the event that you do not return. I can make the assurance that I will not leave with another captain unless you do not return within 876,541,652 hours. Oh, speak of the devil. Captain, I am receiving a transmission from the prison's docking authority now.
Attention, unauthorized spacecraft. This is a maximum security installation. Your presence here is an explicit violation of UDL corporate policy. You are hereby confined to your docking platform until a ticket detailing your crimes has been filed and notarized, at which point your vessel will be seized and you will be executed. I'm sorry, you people? Did you just cast a generalization on upstanding UDL employees? That's a fine of 200 bits. You're up to 5,708, not including the cost of your execution and the disposal of your remains, which will be assessed posthumously. All right, I'm feeling generous. I'm transmitting the idea of a productive, law-abiding employee so you can see what one looks like before you die. Anyway, Tartarus Docking Authority signing up. Hang on. Another ship just pulled into your dock. Wait, is that from the Groundbreaker? What the? Pay no mind to that. Just have a pleasant day.
Transmission terminated. Biometric ID received. Transferring data to external cartridge. How can I be of assistance? May luck be with you. Of course, as I am sure you are aware, luck does not exist. But it seems to comfort humans to believe they possess good quantities of it.
I don't know who that took, but I don't care. Let's see. I did it. Ah, okay. I think.
The captain did right by us. The board will never own Groundbreaker. Not while I breathe. Push on, Mardat.
What?
The prison has the bars when it's got a storm like that guarding the gates.
I've got to admit, I'm not too keen on walking into a prison. They lock me up, I'm liable to kill everyone trying to get back out.
Oh, yeah.
We have a lot of shooting to do, Captain.
Nope, we don't. I will best camouflage and I can use it 3 times. I'm really glad I found this camouflage.
Halt. Beginning that action is error. Employee error. Error. Paradox Prevention has temporarily disabled this unit's auditory processing. Thank you for your cooperation.
Oh, what's that? Okay. Well, like, what the fuck? Where do I have to go to?
Let's go, troops. Stellar Base counting on us.
What was that? Hold it. No. Ah, damn. Lucky you.
Well, look who it is. I'll be damned. I was prepping the studio for our announcement, and here you are as a bonus. I had heard you'd taken a mechanic under your wing. What's the matter, girl? Couldn't find actual employment?
The captain's treated me right. Better than any of you bored folk ever have. I'm exactly where I want to be.
Ah, I knew I smelled Monarch when you lot walked in. The stench of sulfur, depression, and desperate bravado is unmistakable.
Keep talking, and you'll be smelling iron. Ain't nobody so important I won't put a bullet in him.
When you go off and get yourself shot, try to avoid taking one to the face. My word! You've correctly identified the most recognizable man in the colony. Remarkable. It's a wonder what Phineas saw in you. Then again, he's an insane person. Thankfully, he's our insane person now. A proper company man. Yes, he is an extraordinarily obstinate fellow, isn't he? Fine, he isn't working for us per se. Semantics, he'll come around. But that's between us. As far as my adoring citizens will know, we've turned a dangerous crackpot into a working-class man. It's a miracle. Oh yes, go on, wake them up, add more mouths to feed. That'll solve our starvation problems. I don't know what half-baked plans that simpleton in a lab coat has been leading you through, but it's done. It's over. Let me ask you something, Captain. Have you at any point thought about not fucking up our entire society?
We're helping, which is more than you can say.
I'm making actual progress towards stabilization and recovery. You're just getting in the way. Oh, right. This coming from the psychopathic outlaw. Yes, I'll try to be more open-minded about your path of wanton dissent. We don't need your help. I'll admit, there's no shortage of talent in the scientists and engineers there. Look, I'm not an unreasonable man. If you manage to storm the castle, as it were, and make it out of here with Phineas alive, I can't exactly afford more havoc than you've already caused. Fine. If you survive, you'll need someone to sell the rest of the board on your plan.
right, MSI. I'm not one for rousing speeches, but the captain needs our help.
See what the
So
fuss is about
get in there and fight!
Fugitive's a fugitive. Let it go.
Are you new here? I didn't think we were... Whew. Thank you.
Really doing this, huh? Take a breath now, folks. Once we're up there, I suspect we ain't gonna have time to stop shooting.
Shooting? Who's shooting? I'm not shooting. I'm actually not killing anybody. What the fuck, man? What's going on?
Captain, you have an uncanny talent for complicating my life.
Yes, I have.
You've disrupted the balance of power. You've upset the natural order of things. You've introduced uncertainty, and there is nothing I despise more than uncertainty. Typical. Running your mouth in the middle of a crisis. It's almost as if you delight in chaos. I should have dealt with you a long time ago. You were always too dangerous to leave unchecked. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised by your impertinence. Leaving you alive was my greatest mistake. But it is a mistake I intend to correct.
How?
I have Dr. Wells in my custody. Once I've secured his cooperation, I can move forward with the program. I can repair the damage you've done. Well, that's mostly correct. You're not leaving here at all. I take no pleasure in this, you know. I simply have no other option.
You always have options.
Leaving you alive is too great a risk. Goodbye. I had a feeling you'd say that. This prison is equipped with an automechanical warden. I've had it programmed to eliminate you on sight and rinse your remains down a drain. And don't worry. I will inform Dr. Wells that you died heroically, or something.
Ow. Do. Wherever comes. Almost dead. Was that it? Ah. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Oh, I'm open again because I have some fucking S. I've got a lot of these fucking shit weapons. Yeah, I know I only get 20%, but I need the space. I need the fucking space. Why is the hole in the wall? Oh my god. Da 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 da.
Why won't
Get me out of here!
You don't know how glad I am to see you. You did the right thing. Akande was a monster. Her death was much deserved, and long overdue. And you lunatic, you broke into the board's own fortress just to rescue one doddering old man. You are absolutely out of your mind, and I can't begin to thank you enough. All in a day's work for you, huh?
Yeah, all in a day's work.
You've broken the board's stranglehold on this colony, and you saved my life. But there's still so much we have yet to accomplish. You and I are going to have to work harder than ever to save 𝘼𝙗𝙘𝙪𝙩. I'm afraid the situation is far worse than any of us ever anticipated. I would like nothing more than to celebrate this victory, but we have a serious problem on our hands. Earth has gone dark. We haven't received a single message in 3 years. There's been no communication, no signals, nothing. 2 years ago, the Earth's Directorate's frigate disappeared on their way back to Earth. We don't know what they discovered when they arrived, or if they arrived at all.
So we've got to make do on our own. Seems to me that'll make us stronger in the end anyhow.
You're quite right. We've got no choice but to make do on our own.
You mean we're all alone out here? Really alone?
I'm afraid so, Miss Holcomb. 𝘼𝙗𝙘𝙪𝙩 is the only home we have left. Returning to Earth is no longer an option. We're in serious trouble, my friend. Do you know what this means for 𝘼𝙗𝙘𝙪𝙩? We can't rely on Earth for support anymore. We've been cut loose. We're entirely on our own. Yes, we do. You've done a marvelous thing. You've succeeded where anyone else would have failed, including
Ja, det kommer an på, hvor meget rom han har drukket. Ja.
Starting with the hopes of
Ja, jeg
brightest
sagde, nu vil jeg
minds.
snakke med et
Then
fornuftigt
we're going to
menneske.
fix
Man kan
this
sige, at
damn
Kiba han er
colony,
fornuftig.
one problem at a time.
Det kommer sgu an på, hvor meget rom han har drukket.
Jeg ved ikke, jeg har tømt en halv flaske.
Better person for the job.
Han har tømt en halv flaske!
What do you say, old friend? Will you
Hvor
help
er det
us?
klogt til min mor? Er der lidt alkoholiker over dig?
Det kan godt være, det ved jeg ikke.
Det kan jo godt være, det ved jeg ikke.
That heartless creature live.
Hvem fanden skulle ellers vide det?
Jeg ved ikke, en alkoholiker ved vel ikke, han er alkoholiker.
Jeg kan ikke høre det nu.
Jeg siger, en alkoholiker ved vel ikke, han er alkoholiker.
We're not a colony
det tror jeg,
any
han
longer,
gør.
are we? Our last connection to Earth has been severed.
Det tror jeg.
And so
Jeg tror
we
godt,
have
du
been
ved,
set
om du
free.
er alkoholiker eller ej.
Our future is uncertain, and no one knows
Nogle
what
tilfælde.
tomorrow holds. Exciting, isn't it?
Det kan være, de ikke ser det som alkoholisk.
Det kan godt være.
The OSI teaches that everything in the universe happens according
Var
to
det
the
det spil?
grand plan. But the stranger that arrived in 𝘼𝙗𝙘𝙪𝙩 was an unplanned variable. From the moment he landed in Emerald Vale, his actions altered the course of history. The events on Tartarus brought about the end of the board's authority. But the board's
Jeg spiller der omkring deres
mistakes
hvad, bare brugt
for decades to
25
come.
timer i det, eller sådan noget.
The damage they left
Var det
behind
galt?
would require the work of a generation.
Og det føltes ikke engang
to
sådan.
repair. Dr. Phineas Wells began reviving a handful of the Hope's colonists. Engineers, scientists, technicians, and intellectuals. They were among the brightest minds the Earth had ever sent out into the stars.
Hvad du sagde, du
The
havde
Hope
købt?
scientists and engineers
The
woke
Outer
up the
World.
colony
Outer World.
descending
The Outer World.
headlong
Ja,
into
Obsidian.
total collapse. With no way
Det er
to
udmærket.
return to
Hvis man
Earth,
kan lide
they
RPG-spil.
had no choice but
First
to
person
band
RPG.
together and devote themselves to the cause of saving 𝘼𝙗𝙘𝙪𝙩.
Det er sådan en blanding mellem Fallout og Mass Effect, synes
In the
jeg.
absence of the board's authority,
Okay.
many of the colony's settlements banded together with a single purpose in mind: survival. Life was especially hard in the years to come. Some towns dissolved by attrition and starvation,
Jamen, de der for
but
mange.
most of them found a way to carry on.
Ja, fordi de skrev
In
ind
the
med
years to
smølfedt,
come,
de...
𝘼𝙗𝙘𝙪
Nå, jeg er
was
med at
forced
slette
to
spil. Jeg
reckon
har
with
overhovedet
its
ikke
newfound freedom.
svaret.
The board
De har
was
også spurgt mig
gone,
hele dagen.
and for better or worse,
Men jeg har overhovedet ikke set
the
det på
colony
computeren.
was
Så
responsible for its own destiny. Between MSI's worker-centric policies and the iconoclast manpower,
Så kan jeg da op og
Sanjar
fjerne.
and Zora were able to rally many of the
I
Terra
want
2
to yard
townships
now.
to their cause. MSI's workforce swelled, and the iconoclasts enjoyed a significant surge in their ranks. The board was too distracted by infighting and internal politics to stop MSI from becoming a powerful corporation. and a refuge for townships that might have fallen through the cracks. Adelaide McDevitt replaced Reed Thompson as the leader of Edgewater. She and her followers transformed Edgewater in their image. Anyone loyal to Reed was pressured into leaving town, and those who stayed behind adapted to her way of life. Adelaide transformed the old cannery into a new garden. The nearby Edgewater Cemetery provided a convenient source of fertilizer. As for Reed Thompson, it was said that he lasted exactly 2 days outside the walls of Edgewater. Years later, a marauder was found in possession of his hat. Under the leadership of 𝘼𝙗𝙘𝙪𝙩 Tennyson, the groundbreaker held firm against corporate influence. The ship's mechanical stability gave 𝘼𝙗𝙘𝙪𝙩 the time to educate a promising generation of engineers schooled in her family's traditions. The future of the groundbreaker looks promising. The rediscovery of the Hope and the abandonment of the lifetime employment program forced Byzantium to come to terms with some uncomfortable realities about the state of Halcyon. While Byzantines were reluctant to surrender the luxuries they'd grown accustomed to, the board's diminished authority gave them little choice in the matter.
Jeg er rig, og fordi jeg er rig, har jeg arbejdet mig op til det, og fordi jeg arbejder mig op til det, så har jeg krav på at have det bedre end alle de andre.
It was a dark time indeed. Life in Halcyon was sobering for Felix Millstone. The grand revolution he dreamed of never came. There was no great awakening for the colony, no celebrations in the streets. There was only the hard, desperate work of trying to repair a broken colony. Felix never had a head for numbers, but if there was labor to be done, he was there to help. Eventually, Felix realized that the work of a revolution was done with 2 hands. After all he'd seen and heard adventuring with you, the vicar Maximilian de Soto renounced his faith and joined the effort to rebuild the colony. Ironically, he finally found the joy that had eluded him over the course of his life, and realized that perhaps he was always meant to be just a simple laborer after all. He quickly dismissed the idea. Though Parvati eventually grew comfortable aboard the Unreliable, she never quite came out of her shell. She seemed to prefer the company of Ada to the crew, and she could often be found neck-deep in cables and grease, telling Ada funny stories from her childhood. While the colony fell into chaos, she found an island of relative peace with Ada, and they formed an unusual bond. She decided to remain aboard the Unreliable permanently as its chief and sole engineer. Nyoka returned to Monarch to take another crack at making a permanent life for herself. She formed the Charon Group, a mercenary outfit of ragtag survivalists and wilderness experts. Anyone in need of a guide, or just looking to throw back a beer and swap stories, could find her camping on the trail, or clearing an infestation. The SAM unit that accompanied you spread awareness of the product line's superior sanitation and maintenance capabilities across what was left of the colony. This led to a boost in SAM unit sales. Did you know that SAM units are the longest-lasting, toughest-acting cleaning solution in Halcyon? Minister Clark was released from house arrest, and his contact with you gave him a sense of renewed purpose and vigor. Once it became clear that no help would be coming from Earth, he threw his considerable efforts and talents into helping Halcyon manage the crisis before it. Chairman Rockwell served as the public face for the changes in Halcyon to come. Whenever you needed strings pulled or a voice to sell a policy change, Rockwell was only too happy to oblige. As for Dr. Phineas Wells, he spent his remaining years in his orbital lab. He eventually came to terms with his own past, and was able to forgive the mistakes of his younger self by devoting his remaining years to serving the colony. Dr. Wells was able to revive many more scientists and engineers than he first expected, thanks to the additional batch of chemicals you stole from the Ministry. Wells never forgot about the human lives that were lost in acquiring these chemicals. In the end, Dr. Wells was able to save every scientist and engineer aboard the Hope. Over the next decade, nearly all of the Hope's remaining colonists were successfully revived. Halcyon saw a period of rapid technological and scientific advancement. Breakthroughs in dietary supplements saved the colony from starvation. Geoengineering projects and social reforms began to change the structure and character of the colony. Dr. Wells laid the groundwork for the project to save the colony, but he would never live to see the fruits of his labor. He passed away a few years later. His work was carried on by the scientists and engineers he revived. Today, Halcyon has stabilized. The people of the colony work hard to adapt to their new circumstances. Nearby colonies send aid and supplies. Life will never be easy in Halcyon, but for the first time in its history, there exists a sense of real, genuine hope about the future. And what about you? The unplanned variable in the history of Halcyon. You brought an end to the chaos on Tartarus, and made Chairman Rockwell your own puppet, a role he was all too eager to play. The colony never realized you were the true power behind the new administration. By acting vicariously through agents and third parties, you controlled Halcyon from the shadows. As a result, Halcyon survived the turbulent years that were to follow. No one knows what's happened to Earth, and no one knows what the future has in store for Halcyon. All we know for certain is this: the name of the Unreliable and that of its